Awesome. Hey, LA Kings fans, welcome back to another episode of LA Kings Corner. I'm Ryan Marvin, and joining me tonight is Dustin Marvin, the podcast for the fans, by the fans. We're going to take a quick look at Game 3 recap, Edmonton, LA, and then take a quick peek into Game 4. Unfortunately, some of our compadres who were at the game last night couldn't make it with us, but we've chatted with them, and we've seen a lot of the good footage that they've been posting on our social media feed. So go check that out on Instagram. Lots of great videos and live look-ins from the LA Kings Corner. So let's take a quick look. Game 3, huge win for the LA Kings. We knew they were going to have a little bit of home ice advantage. I think the fans had a huge impact in the game, just with energy and feeding them, and the Kings did not disappoint. They delivered. Dust, why don't you start us off with a quick take on Game 3?
Yeah, I mean, what a game, huh? That was exciting. The Kings can't just, give us a little just easy home game to just, sit back, relax, and enjoy an easy, 3-0 win. It's just not the way the Kings do it. Exiting last episode, Josh had asked me what are some things I just want to see, win or lose. What do I want to see? I want to see first goal, and I want to see a full 60 minutes. I think we got both those things and some, right? I follow got a goal late in the first period, which was awesome to get us on the board after a pretty solid first period by the Kings. Definitely much better than the start in Game 2.
Yep.
They did play a hard 60 minutes, obviously, just like Jim Fox was saying in the post-game show, weathering some storms from the Oilers. That's always going to happen with the way the Oilers are designed up front. They're going to be able to, attack you pretty consistently. But the Kings did a fantastic job, I thought, weathering some storms and really playing a solid full 60 and, just continued on into the first overtime. And they earned the power play with Iafallo driving hard down the right wing, cutting to the middle, and Nugent Hopkins, couldn't control the stick and broke Iafallo's stick. Pretty clear slash there, and the Kings battled hard on the power play and scored a albeit controversial goal, I guess. Scored a hard-working, pretty goal down low with Byfield, Velarde, and Trevor Moore, battling hard in the corner and taking it to the net. And hometown hero Trevor Moore banking it in off the left post and in. It was just epic. I know I was celebrating hard in the living room, scaring my wife half to death, but that was an epic win.
Yeah, man, that is so awesome. I heard from Corey that Jen had a really good point. Because obviously there was a review at the end of the game, some controversial aside of that game-winning goal with kind of an incidental potential high stick, right? I don't know if there's a rule on that. If it's an incidental high stick, when you hit somebody, obviously you still get a penalty for high sticking. If it incidentally hits the stick and it really doesn't have an impact in the play, does it like play on, right? Sort of thing. That's kind of the way it looked. And so they actually reviewed that and then got to celebrate twice, which is always nice.
I know I was personally a little nervous that it was going to be a carbon copy of Game 1, when the Oilers scored the first goal in overtime. That was obvious high stick, but just kind of the same flow, like where the Kings going to get called back and the Oilers going to be able to get payback with the second overtime goal. But I was reading a little bit of what Jim Fox was tweeting after the game, and they did change the rule a few years ago where if there's a stoppage in play that was missed, whether it's a hand pass, puck off the net, a high stick, and the pace of play that was missed, they can review that. And it, there's some videos that it makes it look like it may hit Velarde's stick, but again, the call on the ice was a goal. Nobody in the crowd or even watching on TV knew what was going on for like 5 minutes. The players didn't even know what was going on, which just goes to show you it did not affect the play at all, other than McDavid, putting his arm up in the air. And then I don't know if you heard or read what Jay Woodcroft said. Apparently McDavid is, more knowledgeable than the NHL Situation Room, but that's besides the point. But no conclusive evidence, which is the rule. You have to have conclusive evidence that that's what happened, and they couldn't find it, and game over. Trevor Moore, game winner.
That's huge. I wonder at this point how how in the heads of Edmonton the refs are right now. I mean, obviously you're playing a game against your opponent, but they feel like they're playing a game against the referees as well.
It's a fascinating point you raised there, and I think there's probably a little of both. Maybe the refs are in their heads, but I think the Kings are in their heads too. Right after the Oilers went up 2-1 on a power play, they just had two power plays in a row, two power play goals in a row. McDavid doing his thing, right? What does Draisaitl do? Going to celebrate on his way, he slashes Doughty in the shins. A weak slash, but it's after the play. The ref sees it in center ice, throws his arm up, get in the box. 15 seconds later, Arvidsson, fantastic set of play. Apparently, they've been sitting on that one. They've had that play kind of just in the holster, waiting to pull it out. I was reading John Rosen was writing about that a little bit, and that Kempe was just cruising down the left wing boards. Arvidsson just a perfect bank pass, and Kempe ties it up quick. What an answer, right? To be able to do that. But again, that's the Kings are in Oilers' heads as well. Like they can't just let it be. Kings are playing hard. They gotta keep playing within themselves and not worry about the officiating at all, and can't become head cases like the Oilers seem to be right now with the officiating.
Yeah, very, very stable group, very stable group from the Kings in many aspects. We've seen Drew as a younger defenseman, right? When he's lost his cool, or Jonathan Quick as a King, when you let those emotions get out of and unchecked. And sometimes, yeah, I mean that can get you to a spike, but can you maintain that over the duration? And the answer is absolutely no. I love that Kopitar is the leader of the group and the pulse of the group, and everybody's pulse is beating in the same rhythm right now. You know what I mean? From top to bottom. We're going to jump into a kind of a quick breakdown from the back end out. Dustin, what do you think about Korpisalo and his performance in last night's game?
Well, I think we just got the
There he
goaltender
is.
guru that just jumped in here. So I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
perfect
happy to
timing,
talk about
Court.
goaltending, but I don't know if I want to take the goaltending section away from our goaltender guru himself. So,
Hey,
Cor, welcome,
what's
man.
up, fellas? Hey, long night last night. Fell asleep on the couch. Sorry I'm joining here late, but it's good to see you guys.
Hey,
Dude, we're
good to
so
see you,
stoked you
Cordog.
we're so stoked you made it, bud.
So, talking about goalies from last night or what?
Yeah, we just got finished recapping the beginning of the game and talked about the high stick a little bit, the overtime winner, the flow, the refs, the Kings just being steady Eddie, sticking with it, and just kind of, wanted to just break down Korpisalo's play.
Yeah, I mean, I've been super happy. I mean, I was talking to Jen last night. She just says he's dialed in. He looks laser focused in there. He seems to be into the game, just like he wants it. He wants to make saves. He wants to be active. I was watching the broadcast a little bit earlier. Henrik Lundqvist was on talking about Korpisalo. Just like his edge work in there, right? You can notice like he's great on his edges. He's strong on his feet. And then he's got really active hands too. And we're talking with like Toby Kovalevog, my old goalie coach at Minnesota hockey camps, and always have your hands out front. They told us, right? So he's out there. He's attacking pucks. Does a really good job on his blocker side. I think I didn't want to jinx anything coming in. I thought maybe upper glove was an area that he let a few goals in down the stretch before playoffs, but Connor McDavid with that much time and space on the power play there, I don't know if he wants any of those back or not, but I mean, he's going to get a couple.
Those pucks probably go in on any goalie.
Yeah, those were lasers, and he was close, and it's Connor McDavid. So letting in 2 goals, man, the save percentage speaks for itself, right? From a numbers standpoint, right? We're talking about numbers last time. Yeah. He's playing great, man. He's doing his job, no doubt.
That's great. Right. Yeah, you had really texted mid-game with McDavid's goals, albeit they were fantastic shots, ton of space, that he was kind of floating back a little bit. I don't know if you caught in the third period, McDavid had on the right wing, and he just, like, I'm attacking this puck. And Jim Fox, he had kind of touched on, like, maybe the first 2 goals, he's worried about the cross ice pass, right? That he's sitting back a little bit more to be able to give him some time to read the cross ice pass. And in the third period, when McDavid had that chance in the right circle, he said, I'm going for the shot, and he just attacked that puck. Huge save off the right shoulder. And I mean, he had one late in the game too, where I think it was Yamamoto had it right in the doorstep, and he saved it with his left shoulder, and it was just, and he's answered the bell when we needed him.
Yeah, I was watching the highlights there, and Eddie Olczyk in that shot was that Yamamoto again? Because Yamamoto had two huge opportunities where Korpisalo came up. He was right there, right in the slot, right in the prime time high scoring area. So yeah, I really like his down low play is so stellar. There was a play early in the game where McDavid beats our defense wide and cuts back, but because Korpisalo was able to spread so far, he couldn't get around and wrap on that far side. So I agree. Nice adjustment from him and probably the team saying, "Hey, Corpy, we got that cross ice seam. You just take the shooter." You know what I mean? And so that allowed him to have that confidence to get out and really challenge. Love that. From a defensive standpoint, transitioning out from the net defensively, I thought the team looked really good again. I think Drew was heavily engaged with Evander Kane last night. Obviously, we saw them both go out and create a little 4-on-4 situation. Gavrikov getting up in the play. Roy, with a great assist on Iafalo's goal. And then, just everybody kind of doing a great job on the back end. Was there anybody that stood out to you guys on the back end last night?
Well, just kind of thinking back to our conversation in episode 3, Sean Jersey obviously had a rough game, and in game 2 in Edmonton. And I don't necessarily think he was anything that stood out to me specifically about game 3, but they say if you don't get mentioned on the back end of things, it's typically a good thing, right? You're playing a quiet, steady game, and I think Jersey did have just a solid bounce back game, and I think we're all pretty happy that they stuck with him and gave him another chance to bounce back. So that was just something that I kind of noticed.
Yeah, that 5-6 D pair had a little bit less ice time than usual last night. I think Doughty was over 28 minutes.
Yeah.
Gavrikov and Roy were over 22 minutes, and Anderson was 21 and some change. So those guys logged heavy minutes, and Edler and Jersey didn't. They were both over 10 minutes. Jersey was 14-21. So it's nice that they have such depth. You know what I mean? That those top guys can play, but you really don't feel like you're concerned when you got your 5-6 pair out there. So transitioning out to the forward group, Dust, you want to take us through what you thought about the forwards in game 3?
Yeah, I mean, I again just impressed with Philippe Deneau and just his ability to just match up with that McDavid line. I just continue to be, happy with that signing for Montreal. I know Montreal, they had that playoff run, and he was a huge part of it. And the next season, they let him walk, and they haven't been anything since. And I saw this guy. He's a Canadians guy, and he was on Twitter. He was talking about Philippe Deneau and just commenting how Philippe Deneau, his game from the regular season, he's solid in the regular season, but you can just see he is a playoff player, playoff performer, and he has shown it. And he can do more than just defend and play that shutdown role. He's had some, that line is, I would say, probably the most consistent line that we've seen throughout the first 3 games. Just steady Eddie and some offense mixed in and shutting down their top line. So that's one of the big things that sticks out to me. And then I gotta give some love to Quentin Byfield. He's 20 years old. 20 years old, and he's just, again, not putting the puck in the back of the net, but I thought he was going to end it in overtime. He had a one-timer on the right, from the right circle, great shot, stuck with it, and kept the puck down low, got it to Velarde, and Velarde made that pass. But Byfield, I've just been impressed with his consistency, providing consistent pressure, sticks on pucks. His IQ is improving. I'm excited to see how he continues to grow, and I'd love to see him possess the puck a little bit more. That's just not his game right now, and he's going to use them to his strengths. And I think he's a big part of our success right now in the playoffs. So I'm looking forward to just continuing to watch him in this series.
Yeah, and with that said, he did hit a post early on, and then obviously is logging good minutes with Kopitar and Kempe. So I love those call outs. How did our how did you think our bottom six look last night? Was there anybody that stand out in that group?
Um, McEwen stood out in the way you don't want to stand out. I don't know. I don't. It'd be really shocking if they went back to him again next game. He didn't get a whole lot of ice, but when he was out there, he looked like he was lost. Um, it's funny taking you get all sorts of different perspectives, but I took someone from Jen. She's like, he looks so confused out there. Who's someone who maybe doesn't watch a whole lot of hockey, but you could see it, And he took a an unfortunate penalty, kind of undisciplined in front of the net with a high stick. That cost us a goal. And he just, I mean, it's tough coming into a series. He hasn't been playing a whole lot of hockey, so I don't know really what you would expect really from him.
Right. Yeah, it's a hard spot to come into.
Right. So, other than that, like, I like Grunstrom in there. Kupari's, I noticed him on the penalty kill. Good feet, good pop. Velarde, obviously, just guy's opportunistic, man. Shows up at the right time. I think the Kings are doing things when they need to, right? That's the big thing. It's not about how many. It's when you get them at this time of year. I think, right? And Corpusalo's making the saves when he needs to make them. We're not going to go blank slate on these guys every game, right? I mean, that would be great, but really, you need the time, the saves, and the goals when it matters most, and they've been getting those. So I'm curious with the Lazat injury, what that looks like, how long he'll be out. I'm curious will we see Kaliev back in the lineup next game? I'm kind of hoping so. And then I heard that Kevin Fiala was skating with the team, red no contact jersey, and then has a chance to take pregame skate tomorrow.
That's always exciting news. Yeah. Interesting thing about the NHL, like NFL, they've got to kind of disclose what the injury is, and NHL, it's upper body or lower body. Like, it's kind of annoying.
Yeah, I guess it's for player safety, right? You don't want guys taking runs at
Well, yeah, and I mean, realistically, like, we shouldn't be knowing people's health concerns anyways, right? Like, that's a HIPAA violation. That's their own privacy.
Definitely.
But it is, you wonder with a guy like Lazat, man, what an impact player he is. And like, he's made so many things happen. He obviously, drew the penalty in game one. He's getting under guys' skins in game two. You know what I mean? He's a big loss, man. But having a guy, and I think this is the beautiful thing about the Kings' depth and the way that they've built themselves out, is they have so many guys that can play center. They've got guys on the wing that are centermen. You know what I mean? And so when something does go awry, Velarde's back in the lineup. Very fortunate on timing at that perspective. He slides right over into that 3C spot, and we're still sitting in a really good position from a depth perspective. Jared Anderson Dolan, I think he looked good again. I really liked Kupari on the penalty kill, man. He's oh man, he's just ready to burst, that guy. He's got some sandpaper to his game. He's got such good legs. I mean, it's so hard to get out there for 6-7 minutes a game and fly at that pace, but dude, he's got some serious wheels to him. So I think those guys, they did a good job. Yeah, man, I feel a little bit for McEwen. There was a couple times where he got out there for extended shifts, and he hasn't played in how many games? You know what I mean? It's like, shit, but he did good. There was a couple times he did good. And so kudos to him for jumping in and filling that role. You know what I mean? It's not who's out of the lineup, it's who's in the lineup. And I think that it will be interesting to see. And we talk about lineup predictions next. Players of the game. Dust, who was your player of the game?
Oh, player of the game. I'd probably go Jonas Corposalo. I mean, after those two McDavid goals, he really shut it down from then on. In the third period, he had some just huge saves. Obviously, you could throw Trevor Moore's name in there just from the game winner and being a part of that shutdown line for McDavid. But I continue to come back to Corposalo just continually impressing me, and he is a huge part of our success right now.
That's who I got to, Corpusalo for sure.
I'm going to go with Victor Arvidsson.
That guy's consistently showing up, and he's out there. He's great, man.
He's great, and I think that power play goal when they answered right after McDavid's second goal was such a pivotal moment. And that setup play, if they discussed that in the locker room in between periods, because first period zone entry was abysmal. Trying to enter the zone, Edmonton was just stacking four guys at the line. Usually, the way that teams do it, they always drop back a defenseman as that safety valve. They want to get them back there to retrieve any dumped pucks. They didn't have that, and so they read that they could float. You know what I mean? Kempe long, and literally he'd win that foot race and gain possession. I couldn't imagine how perfectly that worked. Literally on a tee for him to walk into, and then off the boards, just placed so perfectly by Arvidsson, and then Kempe's shot. I mean, man, that was absolutely sick.
Yeah, I wanted to say something about that last time. They actually, throughout the year, you've seen them utilize foot passes and running on pucks, area passes. Byfield did it last night. It's something that this Kings team, it's a theme that they have gone to several times throughout this year and last year, and it's great to see them pull it out and use it. It's worked well for these guys.
It actually is what led to the game-winning power play. Byfield, didn't have a tape-to-tape pass, Iafallo, so he flipped it up just like you were saying, toward to space, and Iafallo skated onto it, cut to the middle of the ice. Nugent Hopkins clear slash on Iafallo led to the game-winning power play.
I think we got about 30 seconds here.
Yeah, we can restart and I can splice it, but I clicked pay for the upgrade, so we'll see if it keeps going. And if it cuts out, then I'll restart it up and I'll just splice it. But
okay, sounds good.
It might continue on.
I just saw that countdown, and that's the only thing I could keep in my head for the last 5 minutes.
Well, I've been trying to figure it out for the last 10 minutes while you guys have talking, so way to carry it.
I want to shout out Pink Whitney, Ryan Whitney. I hope you're stoking your own tears up, buddy. I was just saying, definitely great night, great atmosphere. The crowd was bumping. They were loud. They were into it. My hand is sore as heck from banging the glass. I was having to double layer my rally towel to wrap around it. Jen was laughing at me. Skipper was in great spirits. He had a vision of 3-2 Kings win. He was saying it all game. And sure enough, we got the 3-2 overtime victory. And it was great. Great to see, man. Will Ferrell face painted, getting the crowd fired up. He does a great job with that. I know he loves the Kings, and seeing him there decked out was cool. It definitely, he brought the playoff vibe, Will Ferrell, and I think the barn reacts well to him. So it's always good to have a guy like that in your corner, getting the place ruckus.
Man, it's seriously, like, the Kings games are the best place to have a good time, and playoff hockey, it is the best, man. That place just gets going. Yeah, how loud did that place get after they scored the OT winner?
It was great. Jen made a good point on this one. She said, I was nervous there for a second, but once we found out it was a good goal, it was nice because we got to celebrate it twice.
Yep. That's awesome. It's epic.
So that was pretty sweet, man. It was great. We didn't know, and I saw that clip that you guys sent earlier that Velarde said himself that he wasn't sure what they were reviewing. I had no idea for the longest time, and then I saw Velarde talking to a linesman, and he was just shaking his head and like kind of shrugging his shoulders, like, I don't remember touching anything. I don't think I touched anything. I believe it. The puck did something weird. It kind of flicked off of his back heel up in the air, and then it landed on is that Ekholm's back. There was really no way to tell if it touched his stick. It was like the lightest, faintest kiss, where you can't even prove it, right? So,
and that was the whole point we talked about a little bit earlier. Like, the whole rule is it's got to be conclusive, and clearly they deemed it wasn't fully conclusive, even if they could think it probably maybe barely touched a stick, not conclusive. And really, the whole point, like, it didn't change anything with the puck. It went up and it came down, and play continued. Anyways, enough about what ifs. Kings up 2-1. Big game 4 coming up Sunday night. This guy is going to be in the building.
Let's go. Kings, the more disciplined team out of the two for sure. I know Jeff and Josh were texting me. The Oilers remain focused on the refs, and it's not doing them any good. I think they're getting a little bit frustrated with the fact that the Kings are not retaliating. We're mixing it up a little bit, kind of getting them into it, and then they're the ones just wanting to keep driving that. I don't know, the game within the game, I guess, and we're not falling for the bait. So I like where the Kings' focus is at, and then again, bend but don't break. They're gonna have shifts in our end. Obviously we want to try to limit that, and having our own cycle shifts is the best way to defend against their zone time on us. But they've got they block shots. Corpy's played great. They're getting sticks on pucks, and just finding ways to weather and then get the puck and then get out when they get their chances. They go the other way.
Yeah, I don't think the recipe has to change much going into game 4. Like, just stick with it. Don't get, caught up in the extra stuff. Don't get, rattled. And I would love to see just getting on the board first. I thought that helped us just settle into our game, played a solid first period. And if we could see that in game 4 again, get that first goal, kind of just frees our game up a little bit. And obviously we got to play hard, and we never want to be second guessing ourselves. But if the more we can stay out of the box and keep the puck off of McDavid and Draisaitl's stick on the power play, the better our chances are going to be. Because 5-5, even though they've probably had a little bit more possession, the stats probably show that. I think nothing super dangerous 5-5 in these first 3 games, and most of the scary stuff's been coming when we're on the penalty kill.
Yeah, Corey, you make a great point. And we touched on that a little bit earlier, was the focus of Edmonton on the referees, right? Kings are playing their game. They're not wavering from their game. They're not letting their emotions get them out of control. And that's got to be the sentiment for game 3 as well, or game 4 as well, right? Like, if we want to be able to take this game, it's got to be high level urgency. Now, I do think Edmonton's going to come out flying. I do think we're going to need to weather that storm in the beginning, but also continue to push back. I think answering anything that comes your way is going to be great. Now, going through a quick take at what the lineup might look like. Corey, do you think they're going Korpisalo again, game 4?
Definitely.
Okay, so Korpisalo in defense. Dustin, do you think they're rolling the same decor tomorrow?
Yeah, decor's staying the same. I think the only question would have been if Dursey had another shaky game, if Walker would have jumped in, but I think it's pretty clear that Dursey's going to be in the lineup for game 4.
Yeah, and he's solidified himself too, just because he's such a great quarterback on that power play and how effective he can be. And he's a competitor. I mean, I love that guy. I'm definitely a mark on that. And then from a forwards perspective, do we see any changes? Maybe in the bottom 6, any guys moving around, moving in, moving out?
Yeah, I don't think McEwen's in the lineup. If Fiala's healthy, maybe they use him in with some minutes if he's feeling good enough. But my guess is probably throwing Kaliyev back in the lineup is probably what's going to end up being.
Okay, so Kaliyev probably pops back into that fourth line wing position with Kupari and Jared Anderson-Dolan. Is that what you're thinking?
Yep.
And then that third line then is Grunstrom, Velarde, and Iafallo.
Yep.
Man, I tell you what, Jim Fox has mentioned it multiple times, and I think, Corey, you mentioned it in one of our first podcasts, dude. The puck finds Velarde. It just finds that guy. Even watching the play before he got the puck to dish to Trevor Moore there at the end, it hit him like 3 or 4 times, and he dragged his skate to bring it up to him and was able to have the poise to oh, there he is right there.
Talk about a bubble, right?
Yeah.
That guy's bubble is incredible. And do you see that pass, man? It was not just a normal forehand pass. He was almost behind the net, and he reached and pulled it back towards Trevor Moore, and that pass was so sick.
Off the bar and in too. I didn't realize that until I watched the replay.
Back post.
He put it, back post and in. So it kind of took them a second, a little bit of a delayed celebration, but I think got really fired up. Velarde, when he gets the puck in the offensive zone, man, good things happen. He has great puck protection. He's got great mitts. He wants the puck on his stick too. You know what I mean? He wants to possess the puck. And the more he does it, the better he gets, It's just, and things start to build, good things happen when you get that guy the puck in the offensive zone.
Going into game four, special team matchups, obviously, I think we're going to see that again, right? And I think that's just another thing to be expected. We're going to have to kill penalties.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's such an emphasis with Edmonton feeling like they're the victim that I think human nature, is the referees we saw, they're going to call stuff. And, what are you going to do? You know what I mean? Obstacles make me stronger, right? No pressure, no diamonds. Just face the penalty kill head on. My thing is like continue to take away that cross seam pass to Draisaitl, try to close down on McDavid a little bit more and allow Korpisalo to come out and challenge.
Yeah, I think, right, that's a really good point you just brought up, just recalling McDavid's 2 goals. I think they were so worried about the cross-ice pass, but I'm not sure Korpisalo was on the same page as them. Like, that's what we're covering right now, so he's staying back a little bit. In the third period, I think they were on the same page. We're covering the cross-ice pass, you come and you take the shot. And so I think if they are just more in sync with, that'll help them on the penalty kill.
Anything they can do up ice, it seemed like Edmonton got zone entry so easy on the power play.
Yeah, that's a good point. They do, but I mean, when you got a skater and a puck handler like McDavid, you watch it when we get Fiala back in the lineup. I guarantee you our zone entries in the power play look way easier than they have been.
Their personnel fits well for that, right? Their game is zone entry, right? Like that's what they do.
Rush
zone entry with possession. They don't like chipping the puck in and having to go get it. That's when the Kings are when we're doing well is when we're making them dump it and have to go get it. And then we like that. We like getting out of our zone, good first pass, good support from our forwards. And, we're responsible in that sense. Our guys get down low, our centers get down low, they do their jobs. So when Edmonton has to dump it in, that's not what they want to do. Those guys really, they are built to, come in with possession, come in flying.
That's awesome. Okay, cool. From a power play perspective, obviously we've had some pretty timely power play goals, 2 for 5 in game 3. Is there anything, what did that second unit look like last night? It looked like Byfield was on that second unit with Trevor Moore and obviously Velarde.
Yep. You're on it. Byfield, Velarde, Trevor Moore. I think we have Dursey. And who's the other guy on the back end with him? Who's been running with it? I don't know who the 5th guy is in that power play too. Off the top of my head, I'm losing it. You remember, Corey, who was on the 5th guy on the power play too last night?
Was it Gavrikov? Was he out there?
It might have been. I can't recall for some reason. But if
they didn't get a ton of ice,
they did not. And even their power play goal in overtime was not like, I mean, Stoli said it in the postgame show that it was not a typical power play setup. They were just grinding in the corner.
Yeah. And, they were playing like a 5-on-5 shift.
Yeah, made a good play.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Yeah. So, I think power play is still going to be, huge. I think our zone entries got to be better. If they start stacking the line again, you know what I mean? Like, I think running that play early where we're putting the puck into an area is going to help to open up some more space. Kings have done a great year. Their power play has been really good all year. Their coaching has been excellent to make those adjustments, right? Those adjustments are so critical in game so that you can take advantage. All right, closing sentiments heading into game 4. Cor, why don't you give us your thoughts?
Game 4, my thoughts are all about just home ice advantage. LA Kings corner, live at the game. Bang the glass, right? That's what it's all about, baby. Get fired up, get loud, bang the glass, let them know you're there. You could tell the sandbag legs weren't there. I think home ice, the crowd that lifts you up, the adrenaline gets pumping. And you could tell that the Kings early on, they had more jump, which is probably why Edmonton had that early jump in Edmonton, right? So that's why you go back and forth and you don't just play in one barn. So use that crowd, feed off it. And then also, like we talked about, Stay even keel with our emotions. Use it to your advantage, but don't get too high, don't get too low. And then, yeah, just I think keep playing for each other. It seems like the Kings are out there. I saw a little clip of them in the locker room, just giving hugs to the boys. They're having fun playing together out there right now. They're enjoying this. So keep playing for each other and supporting your teammates. And I think they're going to do great, man. It'll be a good game, no doubt.
Love it. Dust.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to being in the building tomorrow night and getting to see it live, be a part of the crowd, bringing the noise, bringing the energy for the boys. But I think you kind of hit on what I'm thinking going into Game 4. I think the Oilers are going to start with a big push. They know they need this. They don't want to go back home down 3-1. I think the Kings are going to have to weather a storm early. If we can stay out of the box, I think Deneau got a penalty in like the first 30 seconds of Game 3. Stay out of the box early, play solid hockey, play structured, and just work hard, be consistent, and work to get that first goal. I really think that first goal for us can just help open up our game. So I think it's going to be just an incredible Game 4.
I agree, man. I really do agree. Yeah, I think such good hockey right now. We're seeing hockey all across the National Hockey League and just how good it is, how many games are going to overtime, how tightly contested they are. It doesn't matter where the seeding was in the regular season. This truly is a brand new season, started from scratch. And I think as you look at a season, it's a journey, right? So we've learned so much from those first 3 games. You're playing playoffs, you play against the same opponent over and over and over again. You get to know them more. The more Edmonton, I think, gets to know LA, the more they realize just how good we are. And I think that's what we just have to continue to exude is we do it right. We continue to go. We're never going to stop. And if you just keep that attitude, I think we're in a really good position to take Game 4. Game 4 predictions. Core, what's your prediction for Game 4?
Let's go 4-3 Kings overtime.
Ooh, baby, another OT game. Love it. Dust?
I got 4-1 Kings. Kempe with an empty netter.
Ooh.
Ooh, baby, 4-1. I like that. That's sweet. I'm gonna go 5-4 LA.
I like it.
All right. I don't know
What
if
do
I
you
can
guys
take
got,
that much stress.
First goal scorer tomorrow. I'm thinking Quentin Byfield.
Woohoo!
Oh, baby, that would be sweet.
That would be sweet.
He's gonna pop one.
I'm thinking Sean Dursey gets one on the PP, but I mean, I'm a Sean Dursey.
I would love
mark,
the price.
so.
I would love the price on that too. It'd be like plus 5,500.
I got Gabe Velarde open up the score, and he's what 2 games, 2 points at least. He's
the man.
He opens up our lineup. If we get Fiala back too, that's just going to make our lineup that much deeper. Imagine just the difference between Fiala and McEwen in your lineup. Holy smokes! It's not Fiala and the guy that's right behind him. Like it's not Fiala and Kopitar. It's Fiala and the worst, player in your lineup. It's just that's what we're missing right now. That's how Fiala brings a lot to the lineup.
I got something for you to imagine. Imagine if we traded for Velarde for a bag of pucks like Dal wanted to do at the beginning of the season.
You got to wait till he's on to rag him.
Oh yeah. All right, Dal. Sorry.
KHL, Dal. KHL.
Oh man.
All right, guys. Well, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for rocking this Saturday night before Game 4. Hey, Dust, how are you doing?
What's the record?
Record is 2-1 LA. Let's make it 3-1 Game 4. What do you say?
Let's go.
A little shout out for Grandpa John right there. All right,
there
guys.
We go.
Have a good one.
All right, love you guys. We'll